up, you guys? Welcome to the Monkey Cave. These are the segments where I share all my tools with you to share with how I do this. So in today's segment, I've got a little something special for you. This is my Langmeyer CNC plasma cutting table. Now, I'm a small shop, so it's a small table. It cuts just under 2 foot by 2 foot. And cutting big things on it is kind of difficult. I don't have what's called a torch height controller, which is something that I really want. They just came out with one for this table. Maybe later on I can afford it. But for now, I got to kind of deal with what I deal with. It's great for drawing small parts. It cuts them out the way I want. And rather than just tell you guys about this tool, I'm actually going to show you in real time how to build something with this program, how to export it, and how to cut it. So come on, let's get started, right? All right, you guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I draw a simple part. I'm going to make a couple of tabs, how to export it and how to cut it. So today this will be kind of like a tutorial. So a couple cool little things that I think I set up my machine. I built out my own little stand, and the reason is my keyboard and my monitor here can go separate ways, okay? But I can also fold it up so that it's smaller than the table, so that the monitor and all that stuff is not really in the way. I can also pull it out like this. I can remove and replace my material on the table. I can roll this cart out of the way if I need a little bit of extra room here. Slide this back into place and get going. Now, just a little something. I bought an old refurbished like school computer, and that is basically what I'm using to power this machine. It doesn't really connect to the internet very often, except for when it wants to update Fusion 360, which everybody hates. So I'm going to kind of show you how to struggle through that anyways. And then of course I'm using a Miller 625 Extreme plasma cutter. So the plasma cutter, ultimately reliable as can be. Everything else kind of is what it is. So come on, let's get in here in real time, and I'm going to draw apart, export, and cut it for you guys to show you how it's done. All right, you guys, so check this out. I normally just leave Fusion 360 open on this computer. That way it tries to minimize the updating and things like that. It's always kind of ready to go. What I do is instead I'll go up here and I'll just start a new project on this board. So go up here, this guy right here, new design, go to the top right here, center it, then I go over here to the solid, click on that, and you can pretty much click anywhere on this screen right here. Okay, so what I'm going to show you how to do is draw a couple of tabs. Real easy, so we'll see if we can. Most of the shocks that we bolt on have a 1/2 inch hole on them, right? Around here what I do is I undersize the holes, and then I'll drill them out, or I'll ream them out. I have a couple of reams that I use to make the holes perfectly accurate. So I undersize them, take the die grinder to them, get the scale out of the way, and then ream them out, and they work great. So you choose right here your circle. I just want to go to the center point circle. I don't necessarily go to the center of the board because then it locks it there. I just like to go off to one side of it. Okay, so I'm going to set a 0.47 thousandths hole. So 0.47, just to undersize that hole. Okay, now I'm going to take this over here. You would normally rely on measurements. Okay, and so I'm going to make the outer diameter of the actual tab itself. So I'm going to say 1.25. 1.25 inch and a quarter diameter of the tab. All right, now down here, I'm going to put, say I'm going to make this tab so that it fits on a 2-inch tube. So go with 2.0, circle there. Now occasionally you do have to do some math to figure out the distance between them. You want me to show you another little trick? Right here, I keep, and I normally have this open, fractions to decimals translator, so that I can quickly go in there, I can get a measurement, I can turn it into a decimal point, and then enter it in the computer. It's very handy to have this right here. So I always have it just minimized. I can bring it up as I need it to make the hole. So I got 2-inch hole here, Now I'm going to hit D for dimension, okay? And I'm going to go to the center of this and the center of this and say, it's telling me that I already have them just randomly at 2.5 inches apart. I'm going to make that 2.0, right? Now, you can do all kinds of shapes, but realistically, I'm just showing you how quickly I can do this, right? So there's straight line up there, straight line. Pretty simple, right? Go up here to my cutters, cut that away, and basically have a tab almost ready to go. Now there are other things you can do. You can kind of round your corners right here, okay? And then once you have it figured out what you want, I'm gonna go over here. I try to grab everything if I can. I'm gonna copy it here. Then I'm gonna paste it. Spin this one around 180 degrees, give or take. Then I can set it right next to that one. And now I'm cutting out 2 tabs. That's pretty much that. I'm gonna go up here to finish sketch. Finish sketch. Now while you're on this table right here, I'm gonna highlight this guy, and I'm gonna highlight this guy, then I'm gonna right click, and I'm going to extrude them. Now, you're gonna have to figure out the speeds on your plasma cutter and whatnot. I kind of know what mine are with the most common materials I use, which are 1/8 inch and 3/16, right? So this is 1/8 of an inch, so 0.125 plate. All right, now you can see that I have a tab in multi-dimensions, right? So go back to the way you want, put it in the orientation I want. So from this screen now, I'm gonna go to design, manufacture. All right, now when you get to the manufacturing part, the first thing you want to do is you want to change it to standard measurements, right? So basically this, where it says mm right here, millimeters, right? I'm gonna go to inches. I'm gonna hit OK. Now that sets it up for a standard SAE. So, setup right here, okay? I'm gonna click on that. That gives me my table orientation. All right, and I'm just gonna set it on a corner right there. And I'm done at that point. It asked me about the model selected, that's fine. Okay, from this point, I'm gonna go to the cutting screen right here, okay, and it sets you up for 4 different setups here. So the first one is the tool we're using. I'm going to go here, all right, click plasma cutter, so on and so forth. Now mine is saved in here because I left it open from the last time I cut it, and that's one of the other reasons I do that, right? So setup 2, it'll have my plasma cutter set up right here, okay. Now these right here are the feed rates. That's how fast the plasma cutter is going to cut. Now, I know that for 1/8 inch material for me, 96 inches a minute is what I set it up for, and that is about ideal. So, I change that there. Then I go to this geometry right here, and this is how you check your contours. I always start with the inside, and you got to be careful. This will mess you up a few times because you got to be on, make sure the machine is cutting on the right side of your line, right? So, if you click here, and then you click out there, it turns all blue like that. You don't want that, okay? That's cutting on the inside of the line. So I cancel that. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, okay? But this is just the way that I do it. It works for me, all right? Back to 96 inches a minute, okay? Now I'm gonna pick my contours. So you want red arrows like that, okay? That's pretty much all I'm doing here. Now, this last one right here, okay, is your sweep angles and things like that. You should watch tutorials on how those work. I'm not really gonna mess with those right now. More about, you can actually choose where you want the plasma cutter to start the cut. So I can choose right there, because that's a place I'm gonna grind so that it welds, right? You always gotta take the scale off any of the places you're gonna weld, and that is it. We're pretty much ready. Watch this. The computer's going to figure out my paths. And once it's highlighted green, that tells you. Now I can go up here to this little simulator, okay, and I can check the cut. Make sure that it cuts all of the lines that I have drawn out. Alright, so I can close that out. Once I do that, I go to my actions right here. Now on this screen, you put in whatever this part is. So this is a couple of generic tabs. And I always put like a 1.0 so that I can change it as I go or make adjustments. Okay? Right here is important, pierce delay. Alright, if it's cutting, like it pierces and then cuts too fast, and it doesn't release the part, I put like a 0.2 right here, and I'll make it just stay in that spot just slightly longer, and then start to cut. It releases the parts a little easier. Alright? And that is pretty much it. Now I'll highlight and I'll copy this and post it. That's it. Now you're going to go to your Mach 3, find this file, and I'm ready to cut. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach over here, I'm going to shut my machine off, alright, the plasma cutter off, so that I can jog the Langmeyer system around. I just want to make sure that it's on the right cut path. You can kind of track it out, so I'm going to set it to start. Alright, it moves around. I like to make sure that my head has enough clearance. Alright. Once I've done that, I can stop it, go to 0, I can reset it. We're actually ready to cut. Alright, so turn the plasma cutter back on. We're ready to go. I'm zeroed out. That only took a few minutes to draw these tabs, and now you're cutting them out. Alright, go to 0. Let's reset everything. Let's cut. All right, I keep a little magnet right here just to retrieve them if they fall down in there. All right. But this is pretty much what our tabs look like. And from this point, I can take them, I can drill them out, I can take them to the Ameribraid, clean them up, weld them in place. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!